Good afternoon. So you can see I have uploaded the syllabus for your assessment 2 from biology. 3 chapters will be there. So first chapter from the plant physiology, that is chapter number 13, that is photosynthesis in higher plants. First chapter, second chapter, chapter number 13, respiration in plants, and from human physiology, one chapter is there, chapter number 17, breathing and exchange of gases. I have written here already, so this is your syllabus for biology for the assessment 2. 20 marks will be there and MCQ type of questions will be asked. Okay, so clear? Any doubt? Okay, so this is your syllabus, and I was discussing the chapter chemical coordination and integration, but this chapter is not in your assessment 2 syllabus. So after the assessment 2 examination I will discuss this chapter again, and today I will start with breathing and exchange of gases. So I will discuss the chapter breathing and exchange of gases. So let me open this chapter first, and I will ask you some questions from this chapter, and I will check whether you are facing any problem from this chapter or not. So breathing and exchange of gases. So first let me tell you the exercise part. Let me tell you the exercise question, and whether you are facing any problem in the exercise question, please let me know. So you can see that from the chapter breathing and exchange of gases, first question is define vital capacity and what is its significance. So you know what is vital capacity, that means the maximum volume of air a person can breathe in after a forced expiration is called as vital capacity. Okay, so what is the significance? That this includes ERV, TB and IRV, or the maximum volume of air a person can breathe out after a forced inspiration. So by this capacity a person can hold maximum amount of air by a forced inspiration. Okay. Now come to the second question. State the volume of air remaining in the lungs after a normal breathing. Can you tell me what will be the answer? State the volume of air remaining in the lungs after a normal breathing. So what will be the answer for this particular question? Okay, first let me tell you all the questions. So this question you have to tell me the answers, because already I have discussed everything. Okay, so these questions, some questions I will provide you for your homework, and some questions I will discuss today. Next, diffusion of gases occurs in the alveolar region only and not in the other parts of the respiratory system. Why? Because you know that the main property of the alveolus, that why exchange of gases taking place in the alveolar region, what are the special criteria alveolar region is having, right? So you know all this, that some balloon like structure is present which is increasing the surface area, and through this membrane they can exchange the gases. Okay, so you have to write it down in elaborate form. Now come to the fourth question. What are the major transport mechanism for CO2? Explain. So already in your book it is written that transport mechanism of CO2. So here in the page number 274, transport of oxygen and transport of carbon dioxide is mentioned in detail. That is that carbon dioxide can be carried out by hemoglobin as carbaminohemoglobin. 20 to 20% will be carried as carbaminohemoglobin, and some portion will be carried out by some other ways like there is some enzyme carbonic anhydrase which will help to combine CO2 plus H2O, and with the help of that carbonic anhydrase enzyme it will be converted into H2CO3, and again with the help of this enzyme it will get dissociated into HCO3 minus and H plus. Okay, that means partial pressure of the carbon dioxide also is playing role in this particular case. Okay, so these are the different ways which are already mentioned here. You have to write down the total process in detail. Now come to the next question. What will be the partial pressure of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmospheric air compared to those in the alveoli air? So option 1 PO2 lesser, option and PCO2 higher, option 2 PO2 higher, PCO2 lesser. PO2 PCO2 means partial pressure, and you know the meaning of partial pressure. That means when if you are considering a mixture of gases, so each and every gas is providing a pressure on other, so this pressure is considered as partial pressure. So what is the question? What will be the PO2 means partial pressure of oxygen and partial pressure of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere air compared to the alveolar air? So what will be the condition in the atmospheric air and what will be the condition in the alveolar air? PO2 will be lesser, PCO2 will be higher, PO2 will be higher, PCO2 will be lesser, PO2 will be higher, PCO2 will be higher, PO2 will be lesser, PCO2 will be lesser. Can you tell me what will be the correct option? What will be the correct option in the atmosphere? Everyone, please try to answer this question. What will be the correct answer for this particular question? Those who are present, please try to give this answer. If you don't try, then you will not be able to get good marks. Please everyone try to say the answer. I am waiting for you. I am waiting for your answer. No one. Okay. So the correct answer is PO2 is higher and PCO2 is lesser. So in the atmosphere, partial pressure of oxygen will be higher and partial pressure of carbon dioxide will be lesser. So PO2 will be higher and PCO2 will be lesser. Okay, and come to the next question. So, and the previous one I have asked, you didn't reply, that question number 2. State the volume of air remaining in the lungs after a normal breathing. So, what will be the volume of the air? So, remaining of the air, that means as you know that FRC is equal to ERV plus RV. FRC functional residual volume. Here they have asked about the FRC. So, what you have to write? FRC is equal to ERV plus RV. Now you know the value of ERV. So what is the value of ERV? 1500. 1500, and again second one is 1500. So total to 3000 ml. Okay. So here the value of the RV varies. Now if we consider this RV as 1500, then the total value will be 2500, or if we consider the less value, then the answer will be 2500 ml to 3000 ml. Okay, so this is the answer of question number 2. Now come to the next question. Explain the process of inspiration under normal condition. Explain the process of inspiration under normal condition. So they have asked the inspiration process. That means here from this page number 270. So there is a part where mechanism of breathing is there, and as you know that mechanism of breathing involves two steps, inspiration and expiration. So here you have to mention the inspiration and you have to draw the diagram of the rib cage and diaphragm. So what happens in that particular inspiration? The diaphragm will be contracted and the air will be entered into the thorax. The volume will be increased, and as it will be, so if contraction of the diaphragm muscle is taking place, so diaphragm is a dome shaped structure. So now if diaphragm is coming down, just imagine diaphragm is present like this. This is our abdominal part. Now contraction of the diaphragm muscle is taking place. So what will happen? Diaphragm will be pulled down and the thoracic cavity, the space of the thorax will be increased. So the air from the atmosphere will be entered into the thorax. Okay. So this is the process of inspiration. You have to write it down in quite elaborate form. Now come to the next question. How is respiration regulated? So for this one you are having a separate point, that is 17.5. This is a large question. You have to mention that how respiration is regulated by neural system. A specialized center region in the medullary region of the brain, which is called respiratory rhythm center, is primarily responsible for this regulation, and another center is present in the pons region of the brain, which is called as pneumotaxic center, which can moderate the function of respiratory rhythm center. So you have to write down how these centers, with the help of this neural system, how respiratory system is regulated. What is the effect of PCO2 on oxygen transport? So here is 17.4.1. There you will get to know that our part is there, part transport of oxygen. So as you know that binding of oxygen with hemoglobin is primarily related with the partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of carbon dioxide, hydrogen ion concentration and temperature are other factors which interference with this binding. Okay, so this graph, there is a graph which is called as oxygen dissociation curve. So in this curve we will get that this curve is called, it is highly useful studying the factors for the PCO2 H plus concentration on the binding of the CO2 with the hemoglobin in respect with the those factors. Okay, so in the alveoli where there are high PO2, low PCO2, lesser H plus concentration, lower temperature, the factors are favorable for formation of oxyhemoglobin. So you can understand that which factors will favor the binding of the or formation of the oxyhemoglobin, that is partial pressure of the oxygen will be high and partial pressure of the carbon dioxide will be lesser H plus concentration and lower temperature will be there. Okay. So if the oxygen concentration will go high and low and PCO2 goes high, then what will happen? Then these factors will not be favorable for the oxygen binding of the hemoglobin or formation of the hemoglobin. So for binding of the hemoglobin, this particular condition is required. Next, what happens to the respiratory process in a human going up a hill? That means when a person is going up a hill, then what will happen in the respiratory process in a person? Then what will be the answer? So if a person is going up a hill, that means when altitude increases, the oxygen level of the atmosphere decreases. And when a person is going uphill, he or she will get less amount of oxygen to breathe. Okay, this cause the amount of the blood, the oxygen of the amount of the oxygen in the blood to decline, and the respiratory rate increases in response to the decrease in the oxygen content of the blood, and simultaneously the rate of the heartbeat will increase to increase the supply of the oxygen to the blood. So I am repeating what will be the answer. If a person goes in higher altitude, then the oxygen availability will be very less and the person will not get sufficient amount of oxygen. So the rate of the breathing will be high and for getting appropriate amount of oxygen, and the heartbeat also be increased. This will be the condition if a person is going up a hill. Next, what is the site of gaseous exchange in an insect? So in insect, gaseous exchange occurs through a network of tubes collectively known as tracheal system. So small openings are present and spiracles are present, some tube-like structure. So this is the pathway by which, that means by tracheal system, they are their respiration is going on. Now come to the next question. Define oxygen dissociation curve. Okay, define oxygen dissociation curve. You know that this curve, figure 17.5, you have to explain figure 17.5. This is the explanation of the oxygen dissociation curve. And can you suggest any reason for sigmoidal pattern? Yes, you have to mention those parameters why it is moving like this. Now come to the next question. Have you heard about hypoxia? Try to gather information about it and discuss it. Means if oxygen amount is not appropriate, then this condition is considered as this condition. Now next question, distinguish between IRV and ERV, inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity, vital capacity and total lung capacity. So first difference between IRV and ERV. IRV and ERV. So IRV means additional volume of air a person can inspire by a forceful inspiration. The value is 2500 ml to 3000 ml, and ERV means additional volume of air a person can expire by a forceful expiration, and this average is 1000 to 1100 ml. Next one, inspiratory capacity, expiratory capacity. Inspiratory capacity means total volume of air a person can inspire after a normal inspiration, and expiratory capacity means total volume of air a person can expire after a normal inspiration. Now vital capacity and total lung capacity. Vital capacity already I have mentioned, and total lung capacity means the volume of air accommodated in the lungs at the end of a forced inspiration. So you have to write down all the differences like this. Now come to the last question. What is tidal volume? And find out tidal volume approximate for a healthy person for an hour. So tidal volume means volume of air inspired or expired during a normal respiration, and it is approximate 500 ml, that is in a healthy human. So approximate value is 500 ml for a healthy human in an hour. Okay, so this is all about the exercise from this chapter, breathing and exchange. This chapter is in your internal assessment, which will be held very soon, and I have uploaded the syllabus also. So read this chapter very carefully. Next day I will discuss another chapter. Okay, so for today that's it. Thank you and bye bye everyone.